Hello, how you doing, everybody? Welcome to another episode. And today, basically, we are breaking the silence, right? We are breaking the silence. It's been a minute, and I know you're wondering where have you been? It's been what couple months we haven't seen you around. Yes, but now I'm back, and now I'm breaking the silence with this episode today. Coming back, doing my thing, and you'll be wondering like where have you been, and that's a question I have received from a couple of my friends and people who follow me on this channel, and I appreciate for you for even reaching out to me and wondering like what's going on, why have we not seen more videos, and we were doing so good with the Bible readings. What happened to that? So I'm just coming back and just saying, listen, I'm breaking the silence today. I'll explain to you what's going on, and basically coming back. This is one of many episodes that we'll have going forward, and basically just thanking God for even another opportunity to do this, right? Because I don't take it for granted, and I'm also a huge believer of just because um you've gone through a period of not being present, being down, doesn't mean that's your permanent situation. Nothing is permanent in life. Everything keeps changing. And that's the beauty of what we have as human beings, that it's not constant. We have so many changes that keep happening. But basically, where have you been, Kevin? Where have you been? So I have to say, I have been up the mountain, right? I've been up the mountain, or even rather say, like Elijah, I have been in the cave, right? Or even like Peter, I've been out there fishing, right? I've been hiding back at what I was used to back in the day. So, what does all this mean? Um, I went through a period of um, being overwhelmed, right? Being tired, overwhelmed, and stressed out. That's basically the truth to it. And the reason why today's episode is breaking the silence is because of how much I had to contain in myself, how much I had been hiding in me and being overwhelmed and did not even want to accept it myself. And one of my friends had mentioned it to me, Kev, you have so much going on and you're gonna break down. So yes, it happened. I crashed and I did not burn. But yes, I did crash because I was too overwhelmed. I had so many things going on at the same time, but but no situation is permanent. I was too overwhelmed. That's basically what happened because I had so much going on. And at the same time, I had so many things not going my way, not going in the direction that I desired, that it was just too much to handle. One thing I'll tell you for sure, this is actually a thing where you become fatigued, mentally fatigued, and even though you want to keep going and indulging in a task, you cannot go much further. And the person from the Bible who comes to mind is the man by the name Moses. Right? When Moses was in the wilderness with the children of Israel, there was a moment where we saw Moses actually break, right? At one moment we can see him breaking, and this is the situation where God, had given Moses specific instructions on what to do. But because Moses had been listening to the complaints of the children of Israel, he had been trying to be a constant ear unto them and taking all the information in, trying to be the leader, be the intermediary between them and God. At the same time, he was trying to solve their conflicts, trying to solve all their issues. He was indulged in so many things that at this one moment he broke. right? And that's that is normal when it comes to human beings. The question always is, how do we deal with it? So Moses, with everything that was happening, he went before God and told him, these people need water. That's what they're asking for. That is what the children of Israel were crying for. They were crying for water. And Moses was so tired. And, he could not contain himself when God told him, there is a rock out there that I want you to go and talk to. And this rock is going to give you and the children of Israel water. Moses was so pissed at these people. And he couldn't, I can just picture him thinking, do I really have to go talk to this rock? If this rock has water in it, then he better give me water, right? So he went and struck the rock. And out of his frustrations and his anger, he struck the rock. And most people have attributed this to being a weakness for Moses. And we have always failed to see the pressure that this man was under, how much he was dealing with, and whom could he actually go to confide in? Whom could he actually go to and be like, listen, all you people keep coming to me thinking I have solutions, but I do not have solutions. He legitimately was trying to solve every situation in his life and in the lives of the children of Israel single-handedly, right? And that's one reason why he was so overwhelmed and frustrated. Now, I was not frustrated, but I was overwhelmed. I was tired, and I was not listening to what my body was telling me. And that is why at one point, right, I crashed. My body could not keep going, and I had to take a sabbatical, right? Let's call it a sabbatical. I had to take a break from being online. If you look at my social media, I haven't posted in a while. If you look at my YouTube, I haven't been present in a while. And only because I had to take a break and just say, I now need to recuperate. I need to understand what is happening. And I've been doing some research trying to figure out, okay, how do I spot this next time before it actually gets to the breaking point. I got to a point where I was going through the motions. I was going through, okay, I have a schedule. I'm gonna do everything on that schedule. I'm gonna make everything work, but I was not finding joy in things that I had joy doing before that. I was not finding any happiness in things that made me happy. And that should have been a warning for me. But I just thought, it's these things happen. But you just keep going because you cannot give up. You cannot quit. You cannot walk away. And let me tell you, if only I had understood what I was going through, that mental fatigueness, I would have been able to manage everything in a more appropriate manner. I had, my business going sideways. I had, my, personal issues that were going sideways, relationships going sideways. And with all those things trying to manage and keep going, it was not easy. And that's why today I'm like, I've been in a good place. I have managed to gather myself, and through the grace of God, through the power of God, being able to like get back, to enjoying the day, being grateful for the day. And as I even do this today, maybe you're out there and you feel like you've lost joy in the things that you used to enjoy. You don't really want to be, in the company of friends anymore. You're just withdrawn. You'd rather sit down, watch a movie. You don't want so much to hang out with family, to hang out with friends. You probably are just having like weird mood changes, right? And these are signs and symptoms of being overwhelmed, and it's good to recognize them. I'll give you just like a couple signs. How to realize that you're overwhelmed, how to realize that you're fatigued, and that you need to slow down and you need to give your body a break, um, or manage your activities in a manner and fashion that will not lead you to crashing and burning. And thank God, right? Because we have this opportunity. First of all, you need to realize some physical symptoms. When your brain is fatigued, it sends some, some signals to your body, and now you start feeling, uh, just fatigued. You're not really in the mood for stuff. You're generally tired. That's a sign that you need to slow down. You need to listen to your body. And when you find yourself being sick regularly, right? Sometimes it's just the body telling you, like, just slow down, right? And you need to listen to that. If you find yourself like having mood changes, like you're more angry, you're more irritable, or you're just anxious, or you just find yourself being so emotional sometimes, and you don't even know why you're being emotional, you don't even know what really is happening, that is another sign that you need to slow down. Try to figure out what's happening with yourself. See, one of the things that I have learned through this period is that one of the important things for us is oneness, being an individual that is complete. Because if you are broken, if you are suffering, if you are not at par, if you're not at your level best, there is no way then you will be able to like get the other people or people around you, or even be able to sustain the people around you. Because if there's brokenness in you, right, then how do you go ahead and complete others, right? If you're overwhelmed, then how do you go ahead and impact others, right? So one of the greatest resources is you. And if you don't take care of you, then no matter how much you try to make it sound like, oh, I'll be there. I'll be there for my job. I'll be there for my employees. I'll be there for my clients. I'll be there for my family. It's not gonna work, because you are very important. For you to be whole and complete is a very fundamental thing. See, even the Bible says, love your neighbors as you love yourself. And sometimes, I've been in a situation where I feel like that verse means a lot to me, because you cannot give what you do not have. And if you're just tired and fatigued, you're just going to pass on the same energy to people around you. And that has been something that I was going through. I was basically just emptying myself, giving, you know, my time, my energy, and I was not taking time to actually recuperate, or even to take time to feel like, okay, I need to regenerate my energy, right? I was not taking time to slow down, enjoy the moment. No, I was just go, 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 right? And that eventually is going to work against you. So take a break. Another thing, or another sign and symptom that you are overwhelmed, that you're tired, that you're fatigued, is basically having disappropriate reactions. Like, eh, you you overreact to small stuff, small stuff, and if you ask the people around me, I've probably stepped on your toes, and you've been wondering like, what is wrong with this guy? Yes, because it's a disappropriate reaction, right? That someone does something small, and in most cases you'd have handled that with grace, and you're like, you don't have the right reaction to it. You're just angry, you're just withdrawn, you don't want to talk, and you just basically don't want to deal. That's basically what I can say. You need to examine yourself and try to figure out what really is happening. And I'm talking, in regards, to this. I spoke to one of my friends on WhatsApp, and I told him, I'm very overwhelmed, and I feel like I just need to take a break. And he asked me, "Do you want to talk about it?" Guess what I said? No, right? Because I personally couldn't figure out what is happening. How was I gonna talk about it? But if I took time to just digest, just try and analyze the situation, take a break and try to figure out what's happening, then maybe I would have had the reaction when he asked me, "Do you want to talk about it?" I've been like, yes, can we have a conversation and stuff, right? And so my friend uh Jose Kim, I'm talking about you, bro. Thank you so much for being there for me, and I appreciate you even for being there when things were getting um out of hand and I did not recognize it. But it's good to have the right kind of friends and the right kind of people around you, right? People who are able to identify when you're going through stuff. Another sign or a symptom of you being overwhelmed is basically being very pessimistic. Like you have a feeling of um helplessness, hopelessness about situations. Like you feel like everything is not gonna work, and even though I was pushing myself, I kept feeling like, okay, I'm doing this and it's futile. I'm not, I'm not getting to where I want to, and I don't think I will. That's Now you have to start thinking. Then why am I putting in the energy, right? Why am I investing all the energy? Because you have that pessimistic feeling, and sometimes, we blame people and we say that these people are just negative people. And maybe you said that about me in the last couple months. And I don't blame you because I was in that situation where it's not going to work. I have tried, I have pushed. It's just not going to work. Right? I even started a project, and one of my very close friends kept asking me, "When are we going to do this? When are we going to do this?" And in my head, I'm like, I know I have to do it, but is it really going to work? I was not seeing the future for it because you're just empty on the inside where you have given and no results. It just overwhelms you, and again, now you end up delaying stuff. You don't want to do stuff because you feel it's not going to work. You don't want to engage with stuff because you feel like you're just wasting your energy. That's a sign that you need to reflect, right? It's a sign that you need to reflect. And sometimes it could even just be the simple stuff. The simple stuff. Um, you could have what we call brain freeze, right? You could just have a paralysis where you're supposed to make a decision, but it's like someone asked you a question, you just stand there and you're like, it's not processing, right? It's you're unable to function, right? Even like simple tasks, they just seem impossible because you just find yourself postponing stuff and avoiding things altogether. And I was doing that. I was postponing calling my friends. I was postponing reaching out to people. I was postponing getting involved in things, starting projects. Why? Because I was already fatigued. I was already overwhelmed, and I was not recognizing it. That's the bad part. And that's why I'm sharing this with you. I am breaking the silence about this issue so that you can recognize that this does happen, right? And you go on autopilot where you're just working, and you're not even paying attention to your own body. And this can be um, it, it, it can be very frustrating for the people around you, right? It can be very frustrating for the people around you because they cannot figure out this is not the same person that I have been dealing with in the past. So if you have the wrong kind of friends and they don't recognize that there's something going on with you, they will be out there just thinking, this person just changed for the worst, right? And that's why and thank God, right? If you have the right kind of people around you, then they're able to support you through that process and actually come and say, listen, you're going through a lot of stuff. Can you slow down? Can we take a break, right? And why one of the things that will cause you to feel overwhelmed is excessive workload. Excessive workload, or if you're working in a stressful work environment, that is going to cause you to be overwhelmed, right? To be tired, right? And you'll be wondering what is happening, right? The other thing that could be causing you to, and I had that workload. I was piling stuff, one thing after another. See, if I see something that I feel I have to do, I'll put it I'll put it in my to-do list, right? I need to start an online course. Bam, put it on my to-do list. I need to read a book. Okay, bam, on my to-do list. Tomorrow, okay, I need to do this. Oh, I need to go here. Okay, tomorrow I'll do it. So I end up having way too much back to back, and it just becomes excessive and stressful. Okay. Health concerns, right? Like if you're struggling with your own physical health, it can also cause you to be overwhelmed because your body is fighting some ailment and you are pushing it to the max, right? That is going to cause you to feel overwhelmed, tired, right? The other thing is basically like if you having difficulty or you're having like relationship issues with the people around you, and that will cause stress and a feeling of being overwhelmed in your life, right? So if you're having friends and you're having friction and you cannot just like agree, or if you're in a relationship and it's not going the way it is, or even if you have a breakup, that is going to overwhelm you. And sometimes you want to ignore it and pretend how strong you are. Listen, nobody's that strong. Well, when you have been in a relationship, whether you're dating, you're married, you're just family, and you're having friction in that relationship, it's it's overwhelming to your feelings, right? It's overwhelming to your emotional self. It's overwhelming to your soul. And let me tell you, if you ignore it, and it's going to catch up with you. It is going to catch up with you. And I have to say this, like, it's good to actually acknowledge when your emotions are hurt and deal with it, address it. And especially maybe for guys, we are not taught how to do that, or rather it's like, oh, you gotta be strong, or you gotta face this, or you have to be the macho man, right? Now I have learned through the last couple months that acknowledge how you feel, take time, reflect on why you're feeling that, right? Then address, just talk to yourself and be like, listen, um, this situation is really getting to me, and I need to actually acknowledge it. I'm not gonna ignore it anymore. This has happened. Let me face it. Let me deal with it. And if you have the privilege, or if you have the opportunity to actually address it with the people around you, even better. So and we're going to get into this on some of the things that you should be doing when you feel overwhelmed. And one of them is like just getting someone to talk to. That is very important, right? Another thing that can cause you to feel overwhelmed is financial issues, financial problems. And that's also one thing that happened to me. I was running a business, I was having some side hustles that I was doing, and now they take a left, right? Rather than going right, they take a left. and you're just wondering, like, I've given this thing my everything, right? So what really is happening? And that if you fail, again, if you fail to acknowledge that these things are going on, you will feel overwhelmed. Um i you know do not ignore it. It doesn't matter who you are, and sometimes we have the wrong coping mechanisms, and that is me. I am one of those people who have a terrible coping style, right? I withdraw, I am silent, and I just want to stay with myself and deal with it until I can actually find a solution. That's what I have been doing for a long time. And it doesn't work because, first of all, the moment you withdraw, people also withdraw from you, right? And you're failing to acknowledge what really is happening. So the first thing, right, is change your perspective. You know, one of the things you do as a coping mechanism is to change your perspective. Take a step back from everything, from your thought process. Take a step back and, just recognize and accept how you are feeling. That is important. Recognize and accept how you are feeling and acknowledge the situation. Acknowledge the situation that you are in at that moment. Don't don't engage in, in the terrible emotional cycle of if someone call it rumination, right? You're just out there obsessing about what is going on. Don't obsess, right? uh what is my goodness, what is rumination? This involves like repetitive, excessive thoughts and just overthinking. This is basically overthinking about a situation, right? You're failing to recognize and appreciate, you know, there's something going on and you keep overthinking about it. So avoid that completely. So definitely change your perspective. Seek out resources that can help you solve the problem. And you're not going to seek out resources that will help you solve the problem if you do not acknowledge that there's a problem, right? That's why you have to change your frame of mind and say, okay, I recognize there is an issue here, right? How do I deal with it, right? And part of changing your perspective is, take a break, right? And that's what I suggest. And maybe that's what I was forced by my body to do, was to take a break from everything, right? In most cases, if you can manage to do this without getting to a breaking point, it's going to spare you all the pain and hassle of having to come back and start from scratch. Okay? Take a break, go for a walk, change your environment, right? Like go to a different city, right? Enjoy the scenery out there. Just take a break, right? Speak to a friend, engage in some breathing exercise. And I've done a lot of those, right? So, and then just now, after you've acknowledged that there's a problem, seek out resources to help you solve the problem, okay? The other thing is, you need to challenge, or rather, you need to now start rethinking the assumptions that you have been making. There's a way that you make assumptions about a situation, and sometimes it's just illogical. You're not thinking clearly about it. So you need to challenge, you need to reassess. You need to reassess about your thinking. Reassess your thinking about the situation that is at hand. Because sometimes the way we think about situations is completely wrong, but we think that we are right. Right? And And the reason why this is an important point is because I kept thinking that the reason why I was feeling I was not having that joy anymore is because I was not giving it my all. I was not achieving the results that I wanted. I actually pushed myself harder, thinking that I would achieve, that state of bliss inside of me by pushing myself harder, by not dealing with it, by assuming, neglecting the situation. No, reassess your thoughts, challenge your assumptions. And one of the things you can do, maybe take a pen and paper, right? Write it down, write what's happening down. And people make fun of the issue, like having a pros and cons list. But get your yellow pad, white pad, get your paper, and your paper and your pen, and write down the situation. Write down the pros and cons on the situation. Like, reassess your assumptions. You have to reassess your thinking about what's going on. You have to really, like, challenge your thinking about what is happening. The other thing you can do is you can speak the situation out loud. Speak it out loud. Hear your own words about what's happening, and that maybe is going to trigger something in you. You can also speak to a friend about the situation, about what's going on, and maybe someone you trust, right? And I will say this, and bypassing, sometimes the people you have around you are not the right people to talk to, not the right people to talk to. So again, even as you're voicing, or rather when you're speaking the situation that's happening in your life, you have to know whom you're talking to, right? Some people, you tell them what's happening with you, and you just dug your own grave, right? So again, just know the right people around you and speak your mind, so that it can help you to challenge your thinking about the situation. This leads me to my next point: seek support. Honestly, as a Christian and as a believer, there's something about mental health that is neglected in the church, completely neglected. This is not something that people will talk about. And when I talk about mental health, it goes from being stressed out to the extreme cases of mental health, right? And we have this fallacy, or this wrong thinking, that God expects us to be strong. No. Sometimes you need to seek support from people. I would even go to the step of saying sometimes you need therapy, right? If you are at that point where you are too overwhelmed and you cannot figure it out, there's nothing you're doing that is helping you get out of your situation, go for therapy, go for counseling. Honestly, let us not propagate the fallacies that have caused us to continue being in the situation that we are in, right? Cases of suicide are on the rise. People running away from their families, running away from their homes, are completely putting a gap between them and their whole life. They are on the rise because we are not seeking support, and we think that we are supposed to be these superhuman people. No, as a Christian and someone who actually, not just believes in God, I desire to live the Christian lifestyle, right? I have been in that situation where I have thought, if I actually say I'm not okay, then I'll be saying that the God that I speak about, the God whom I talk about, is not strong or powerful enough to make me okay. Right? And so I'm going to hide my issues so that people don't judge me. And if God doesn't want you to defend him, he can defend himself. If you are going through a situation, Allow yourself to seek support, social support, professional support, whatever it may be. Your friends, family, colleagues, people will offer you support, and also they will offer you different perspectives. Again, I mentioned to you, a friend of mine reached out to me, and he asked me what's happening, and I told him I just feel overwhelmed, I just feel tired. And he asked me if I wanted to talk about it, and I said it's gonna be fine. I am praying about it. That's what I said. I said I am praying about it, right? Hey, listen, God sent him to me so that he could give me a different perspective, and I refused to engage him. And that prolonged the period of which I had to deal with the situation. But accept help. Accept help from your loved ones, from the people that are around you. Allow them to help you. Even just talking to supportive people in your life can help you, and even help you make it can help you feel much safer. Um, and that is important, right? I eventually did open up to someone very close to me, and I actually opened up to two people, and one person completely um, vacated and disappeared from my life completely, right? Because maybe they were not expecting that I would be going through struggles, right? And that's fine. And then someone else just stood with me, walked me through the steps of get back out there, um, recover fast, right? And you do that, and you find yourself even creating stronger friendships, stronger bonds with people, only because you can be vulnerable with them. And now to a more simpler concept, uh, take care of your body. Take care of your body. Engage in physical exercise, go for walks, um, try mindfulness exercises. This can be very helpful in just getting you to get your senses aware, alert, and for you to be aware of like what's happening. Don't just sit down and marinate in what's going on. No, step out there. And especially when you feel like you're not in the mood, that's when you should be going outside. Sometimes a breath of fresh air can do a whole lot of good for you. Sometimes a walk, even down the street from your house, will do you a whole lot of good. I'm telling you, go to the park, walk around. Go to the mall, they just do some window shopping, right? Or even go to the beach and just enjoy the sunset, right? And I believe that those are some things that would actually help you very, very much. So I'll conclude by saying this. In the Bible, we've seen characters of persons who have been overwhelmed by situations. One of them was Job. Another person I would mention was David, right? This guy went through a lot. In Psalms 142, David says that he cried out to the Lord, and he lifted his voice up to the Lord, seeking mercy, and he basically expressed himself to the Lord. And I believe it says he poured out before God his complaints, right? And he expressed to God his troubles, right? That's Psalms 142, right? That's David. If David was crying out to God and expressing himself to God and saying, God, listen, I have stuff that's bothering me, right? Then that should be something that you should also engage in prayer, right? Seeking God and telling, and also just be honest. God knows. So just tell him, I am overwhelmed. I don't know what's going on. And I need you to sort these things out for me. And even though David struggled, even with his faith, he never remained in that state for so long, right? He still concluded by praising God, and sometimes just having a heart of gratitude. If you look at uh, the chapters in the book of Psalms, they end with, glory to God, or just giving thanks to God, to give glory to God, right? Being in a state of gratitude and just seeking God in your life, right, is very important. It is paramount. And sometimes, there's this song, I don't know that it's by Don Moen, um, but it basically says that sometimes I find it hard to pray, right? But with all that's in my heart, I will sing, right? And the song basically is about, even though times are difficult and sometimes I'm not able to pray, because sometimes we go through that. You're not able to like express yourself to God. Find a song that will carry you through. Find a song that will carry you through. You see someone like, and I spoke about this, Moses, right? Moses, he went through a lot. he went he went through so much, right? He, like, this guy just went through so much. And maybe we can learn something from Moses on what not to do, right? Moses, he allowed the anger, the frustration and the anger to guide his actions, right? Do not allow anger and frustration to guide your actions. Seek God, take a break, allow yourself to like refocus and face the situation from a different perspective. So basically, that is where I have been. That is what I'm coming back thinking, like, I've been through that. Maybe we can learn something from this situation. And let us move forward knowing that all things are possible through God. All things are possible through God. You can find strength, comfort, and guidance in the Lord, even like during challenging times. You can, you will, if you seek Him, you will find strength, comfort, and guidance from Him. I promise you that. So seek Him, seek first the kingdom, and all these other things shall be added unto you. Okay. So let us keep it real. This is just me being very plain and honest, right? So keep it real. And again, keep it Jesus. Keep it real and keep it Jesus. That's what it's all about, right? So God bless you for tuning in. I'm going to continue with Bible reading, Bible study. I'll be doing that. And also on the side, I will be having moments like this where we just keep it real. We just talk about it as it is, right? So we'll be doing that. God bless you all so much, and God continue to empower you. See you on the next episode. Have a blessed, blessed. Amen.